Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Peter Lorenzo with the Crawford Lorenzo Homesteading Team, Keller Williams Metropolitan, June 9th already. We are, past halfway through the year. I can't believe it. This weekend, the weather is nice. People are out and people were searching for homes. We had roughly 50 people at our open house in Randolph. We had another 20 people up at our house in Rockaway. So every Monday morning at 11 o'clock, it's the Monday Morning Market Review, and I'll go over what is coming soon, what's available, what's under contract, and what's sold for you. And we'll take a look at the rhythms and the patterns of the real estate market in northern New Jersey. Today we're going to get started and jump right in. There's a lot of conversations about what's happening in real estate, where prices are going up, where prices are coming down in different areas of the country. Not here in New Jersey. So there's a wow factor that just came up when I started to take a look at the numbers. So let's jump in right into the numbers. Starting next week, I'll get into birthdays again because I do want to start doing that. Let's take a look at what we've got for numbers coming in. Morristown, Morris Township, Morris Plains. Again, taking a look at that price point, 700 to 750 to 1.25 million. Right off the top of the bat, I saw an increase of total transactions where we've been seeing about 190, 183, 190. I saw 217 transactions taking place with coming soon, available, under contract, sold. Here's the big thing. I don't see any coming soons. I saw a little bit slower activity with one going under contract. List price in Morristown, Morris Township, Morris Plains, 4 to 5 bedrooms. Record breaking. It was 1140. It is 1160. 1160. And days on the market are 28. So that's extremely strong. That's a wow factor right there. Ratio for the first time, we're always looking at the ratios, the amount of available to the amount that we have under contract. For the first time, I've got more available, and we haven't seen this in a while, than I do under contract. So 22 available. 20, okay, so 1 to 1. It's 22 available to 26 under contract. The under contract price is $933. So what does that tell us about the ask listing price? Well, at 28 days average on the market, people are saying houses are still going in, getting sold, under a month's activity. Let's go for more. Now, if they go for more, let's watch that 28 days. If it gets up into 35, 40 days, you'll see that number, that price, come back down. But the average list price that went under contract was $933. Then we get into total solds. Again, we're at a record-breaking 6% of asking. $977 is the average asking price, 4 to 5 bedroom, Morristown, Morris Township, Morris Plains, and the average sale price is $1037, 6% above, and days on the market there. Just let me capture that. How many days we're looking at? 28. Whoop, nope. Hold on. There we go. Days on market, 23. So that's the average sold price, 23 days. All right, let's look at Madison, Chatham, Florham Park. Let's kick it up a notch and take a look at the luxury market a little bit closer to getting into New York City. And we'll look at Chatham Borough. We'll look at the township as well. We'll look at Madison. Where are you? Come on, come on, come on, come on. There you are, Madison, and we'll take a look at Florham Park too. As we get into Summit and then you get into looking at Montclair, the prices are going up a little bit more. I may start to look at that. The only thing with Montclair is you can put a house on for 1.6 and you can end up at 3 million. There's not a lot of great data there because it goes all over the place. But Madison, Chatham, Florham Park, coming soon, available, under contract, sold. 4 to 5 bedrooms, more of the luxury market around here. 295. Good morning, Jackie. 295 records. That 295, that's the most records I've seen in Madison, Chatham, Florham Park, I think, in the last 10 years. What does that reinforce? That reinforces the luxury market is moving in spite of what's going on. One, the economy bounced back, so everybody felt a little bit better with that. And these are people that are making decisions on less emotions and more statistics. Again, their homes are more like an asset. There's probably a little bit more flexibility, maybe a second home. They have an option of going somewhere else, so you are going to see some activity there. I do see 2 coming soon. So let's just take a look at what my CMA says for this. Again, Madison, Chatham, Florida Park, the luxury market. And you can see from my listings, that's where I focused, and you can see what's happening to those. All those 3 listings above $2 million were under contract within a week's 10 days time period. Average list price, we were seeing 1.5. We're now seeing it up around 1.8. Days on the market, 24. How many do we have available? 19. How many of those are coming soon? 2. So we have 17. And we saw a little bit of a slow week with 1 that went into attorney review. But again, list price 1837. My guess is if I go down, we're probably going to see a little bit lower number, significantly lower, 1447. Days on the market, 15. So again, it's the same thing that happened from that Morristown, Morris Township, Morris Plains. We're seeing people going, hey, homes are still selling. Let's make the decision now. And while we're doing it, let's throw the deep bomb, the Super Bowl, and kind of the Hail Mary and see if we get it. That's what's kicking that number up from 13 days to 24 days. In some cases, they're getting it, waiving appraisals, et cetera, et cetera. I am seeing 19, so 17 available. I'm seeing a 1-to-2 ratio available to under contracts in the luxury market. So the inventory isn't kicked up as much there. I'm glad to see the inventory between 750 and 125 kicking up. Let's look at the souls of the luxury market. 143, still selling at 6% above asking. So that went up to 7%, but then it kind of backed down to 6%. So right now you've got an even across the board. We'll watch that. I don't think it's going to jump down to 5%, but we will watch that. Good morning, Peter. But we'll watch that 6% in the luxury market. If there's any shift, it's going to happen in the luxury market first, and then it's going to trickle back to that second-tier mid-market level. Mid-market meaning 750 to 1.25 million. Days on market, 22. So what do I see? This summer, I went through a big flux. We had a lot of listings available. We had a big open house this weekend. We're coming up on Father's Day. We're coming up on July 4th vacation. From June 15th to July 15th last year, I saw a little bit more seasonality. I expected, and I talked about this weeks ago, I expect to see a little bit more seasonality now than we did last year. Is that going to take away people from needing to buy a home? No. The buyer's inventory, regardless of what you're seeing, or the buyer's versus inventory, regardless of what you're seeing and hearing from national news, New Jersey, the New York, tri-state area is not the rest of the country. I was talking to an inspector this week, and we were saying how lucky we were to be doing business here, such a transient state, people in and out. Good morning, Jason. How are you, brother? So we're always looking at, we're very lucky to be in New Jersey where we always have people moving in and out. Here's my projection, all right? If I had a crystal ball, which I don't, and people ask me about the real estate market, rates. Can these home prices go up a little bit more? Good morning, Rich. Can these home prices go up just even a little bit more? In Morristown, along the train line, and above and below the train line, I still believe they can go up, probably another tier within the next year or so. Why is that? You do have some flexibility with people going back to the office 3 days a week. I know that COVID word's kind of old now, but I look at, there's that 750 to 1.25 million. If you have 2.5 to 3.5%, you are not going anywhere, probably for the next 10 years. Or unless you have to move. And you're most likely going to put an addition on your home. So I do think you're going to see an increase in additions on homes, updates to homes. And as primarily a listing salesperson, I do work with buyers as well. So I'm always looking at the pulse of the market and getting a feel for what people who are listing are saying and where they're coming from, and people who are buying and what they're spending. I do think that that people from 750 to 1.25 million, that's going to be dwindling down a little bit. We're working at people that if you have to move, you'll move at that 3%. But if you don't have to move, you're not going anywhere. So we started with a big pool. Think of it as a basketball of all those people at 3%. And I think we're still chipping away at that. And we're going to get to a point in time where there's not going to be much flexibility. It's going to be like a softball. And then it's going to be like a baseball. And those people at 3% are going to be holding out. That's why we are so lucky to be in the tri-state region. obviously Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, etc., Boston, but we always have people moving in and out. So that's going to be a saving factor there. I do feel bad for first-time home buyers, but I am also seeing where first-time home buyers used to be 21, 22. They're probably now 26, 27, 28, 29, 31. They've saved money. They lived at home. That's becoming more natural. So they're getting into, at least in Morristown, you're not getting into a starter home at $750. You're probably at $775, and that's a lot different than $600, 5-6 years ago. That being said, I appreciate everybody watching. You know how to get in touch with me. Buying, selling, renting, or investing, 973-255-9337. You can email me at peterglorenzo@kw.com. And you all know you can always just private message me, Facebook, give me a text, and I'm happy to answer any questions for you about real estate. And if I can't answer it, I know probably some of the top agents across the country, and I will get you an answer. Have a great day, everybody. I will say, side note, my team is looking for around 35, 40 homes just in around this area. So whether you're from this area or not, if you know anybody thinking of selling, and I'm starting to work with people that are thinking of selling 15 to 18 months from now. They're not thinking of selling, because of the situations they're in. They're not thinking of selling right now. So even if they're thinking 2 years off, happy to talk to them. Have a great week. If you need any help, give me a call. Love you all.